Up and running. First of all, I want to welcome everybody. It's hard to believe that this is our last PETS training session. Hard to believe. It's gone so quickly. And so tonight's agenda is threefold. The first part of our evening is going to be dedicated to the district assembly, and Ron and our district treasurer Larry Watmore are going to run that for us. And then we have a great session on Rotary Club Central, and that's going to be run by District Governor Nominee Designate John Burns. And then we have a special guest tonight who's going to talk about If I Was President Again. So we've got lots of things planned for tonight. So I'm sure that this will you'll meet all our needs, and it'll top off all of our training sessions. So at that, I'm going to turn it over to Ron to introduce the district assembly, and over to you.
Thank you, Past District Governor Beth. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to say anything official to open up the club assembly, but to get us started, I'd like to turn it over to District Treasurer Larry Watmore.
He's here.
I am here. My apologies for the delay. I just want to share my screen
John can sing while we're waiting for Larry. John, go ahead. You're on mute. We can't hear you.
So can you see my screen, first of all?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, excellent. Okay, thanks very much, Ron. So I just wanted, so this is for the approval of the district operating budget for next year, the year beginning July 1st. And I've put it on the screen. And this is the same budget almost as I submitted to the president-elects and the club presidents back on February 22nd. So this budget is being presented for your approval tonight. Now, we've prepared this budget on the assumption that we will return to normal next year, including in-person programming, although perhaps not so much in the first few months. But that said, one of the lessons we've learned this year is that online programming is, in some cases, a pretty good substitute for in-person programming. It avoids long commutes, and it saves us on facility rental and catering costs, and we can pass those savings on to you, our clubs. Now, we don't want to become a completely online organization, because in-person connections are how we build a cohesive team. But COVID has revealed that we have the ability and the need to use technology better. So next year's budget assumes that we will continue to do some online meetings in place of in-person meetings, which reduces our costs. And that's the primary reason for the $5 reduction in club levies next year, from $55 per member this year to $50 next year. Next year's budget will also benefit from the fact that Iosif will be going through his DG training online this fall rather than in person. This is a one-time saving only, as in-person DG training is likely to resume the following year. But it does give us an opportunity to redeploy the funds that we would normally spend on this to invest in technology instead, to hire professional services to work with our clubs to improve their online profiles, which is becoming so important as a connector to our communities and also for recruitment. So that's a dedicated new budget line this year in this budget. There's one change to the budget on the screen that's different from the version that you received back in February, but it has no effect on the proposed club levies. In February, we didn't know what the approved funding would be from RI to support the work of the district governor next year. So we used the amount that was originally approved by RI this year as an estimate. RI has since given us an actual figure, which is $13,593, and you see that figure on the screen here. So I've revised the budget on this basis, but this is an in and out, so it has no effect on club levies. So I want to talk a little bit also about current year rebates. As I mentioned on February 22nd, our actual expenses this year will be significantly less than we had budgeted because COVID has canceled current year programming or has converted in-person programming to online programming at a lower cost. We'll be returning these savings to you in the form of a rebate. The savings we've identified total $25 per member, which is almost half of the $55 current year levy. And you can see, if you have the original version in front of you, how we arrived at this figure in the right-hand column of the budget file, which is also on the right-hand column of the version that is on the screen. We will issue a credit note to you this year and will apply it against next year's invoice. So therefore, the net levies next year would be $25 per member, being the regular levy of $50 minus the $25 rebate for the current year, plus insurance premiums, which we are estimating to be $25 per member. We won't know the actual insurance premiums until about mid-June, but your club's share of the actual insurance premiums will be added to your club's invoice when we issue the invoices in early July. And that's all I was going to say about the budget, but if there are questions, I'm happy to take them.
Okay, I've been monitoring the chat, Larry, and there are no questions, but perhaps there are some now from members present, given your presentation. Are there any questions for Larry on the district budget?
Great job, Larry.
Is that you, Roger, saying I have a question?
Yes, please. Well, it's not a question, it's a comment. I think that I'm so pleased to see the rebate. I think it's just going to be such a situation that's going to be very well received by members. And I know I've spoken to Ruth, and we intend on passing it down to the members. I think it's the right thing to do. So great job, Larry. Thank you.
Yeah, I agree. Great job, Larry. Thank you.
Larry,
Yeah,
can I
lots
ask
of
a question?
lots of positive comments in the chat, Larry. Mike, do you have a question?
Yeah, first I have a comment on the rebate. I think I have to think about it, but I think it would be a great idea just hold everything at the club level and use whatever money we get as excess to use for other programs. Because I don't think anyone's going to be unhappy about paying the same price. But Larry, can you elaborate just a tiny bit on what you said earlier about helping clubs with their online presence? Because our club, because what I want to do with our club is we had a really, our attendance doubled when we started using Zoom. And I would like to try to integrate that with our live meetings when we can start to do that in Toronto. And we have technology hurdles, et cetera. And it'd be great if there was someone I could go to that might help with this type of issue. Is that part of it?
Yeah, so I've highlighted, if you can see this on the screen, this budget line for technology for $5,000, which is new and one time. And as I mentioned, arises from the fact that we're going to have some savings next year on DG training costs for Iosif. But perhaps I'll turn it over to Mark or Ron or Beth to talk a little bit more about what the ideas are on how that budget line might be used, because I know you've got a few ideas in mind.
So that might be a question better answered by Ron. I think he has an idea there.
Happy to, folks. One of the things that we've looked at this year in District 7090 is they've employed the use of a consultant. The consultant is a Rotarian, but also a website designer. And they've deployed a program in 7090 where they will come in and provide 6 hours of work with a club to upgrade their website and train their club members on how to better use the website, Club Runner, and how it interacts with My Rotary. We're looking at a couple of test pilots right now, and assuming they go well, we'd like to roll it out to the district next year with more details. So Mike, it doesn't go directly to your point in terms of running hybrid meetings, but it does in terms of that whole online presence and social media that I see quite a spread of usage across the district. And if we're able to upgrade everyone's knowledge in that area, you will get huge synergies within your club as well as across the district.
Thanks, Ron.
We're looking at deploying it on a co-op basis. And once we get through the test pilots and we get it through the DG group, we will bring it back to you as a larger group.
So there's a question, Ron, in the chat about, can the district support Zoom for each of the clubs?
Yeah, I made
I
that.
don't believe so, because if you look at the Zoom cost and multiply it by 55 clubs, it's beyond anything we've got in the budget.
Oh.
I really think that's something that a club has to take on its own. With the Rotary discount, it's only $150 a year for most of the clubs in our district to be able to operate.
Okay, thank you. Chris has a question about, do we have any ideas on the RI budget and is it similar?
I
No.
don't. I don't know if I think RI has already got their fees set for next year and maybe even the year following. I'm not sure, but I've not seen them.
The word out of our eyes, they have a lot of fixed costs, a lot of salary costs that go to their respective levies. So, they're not planning to cut any staff. They're planning to get back to full operation. So with the fixed costs, they don't see the same reductions that we're seeing here at our level.
Right, and with the council legislations, they actually decide on the fee structures 3 years in advance. So the next cycle isn't, I think, for another year or two. So the structure would be the same. Okay, and I think Sharon, we might have already answered your question. So is there anybody else that has a question?
Prince has his hand up.
Vince had his hand up.
So great presentation again, Larry. Got a question in terms of any thought been given to taking some of that, I guess, rebate or a small portion of it and putting it towards brand and image at the district level, and especially that we're in that COVID year and hopefully coming out of the COVID year this year. Really going out there and all the work that all the clubs have been doing, the phenomenal work that district has been doing is bumping up the branding part of it and the social media part of it to talk about that.
We do have a small sort of annual recurring budget for public image. And we also have this other budget line that I've just put the red box around called Investment in Strategic Priorities, which is not yet very well defined, but of course, with public image being a top priority of the district, it's conceivable that some of that money would be spent for that purpose. But I don't think the DG team has given any detailed thought yet to how that particular budget line might be used. This year, we used it in part for our district strategic consulting services relating to the district strategic plan, but I don't know if any thought's been given to how that might get rolled out next year yet.
Not yet.
Okay, thank you.
I would have a question, Larry. Would you be available for both the provincial and federal budgets?
Only after he gets a haircut.
I think the The ministers of finance could probably learn a thing or two from how we run things in Rotary.
Thank you.
Here, here.
Okay, folks, if there are no more questions, then I think we're done with this part of the evening. So we'll thank those
wouldn't-
people
Do,
who joined us specifically for the district assembly piece. And I think we'll move on to goal setting and Rotary
do
Club
we
Central.
do we not have a?
Oh, I'm
vote?
sorry. Ron did have something else. He wanted to review some policy and procedures documents. My apologies, Ron. Over to you.
Thank you, Past District Governor Beth. As all of you on the call tonight or on Zoom tonight know, I had sent out an email yesterday, early afternoon. Many of the committees have done a lot of work over the last year to upgrade the necessary policies that we need to operate as a Rotary district and Rotary clubs. And it's been reviewed by governance and sent out to you for any comments that you may have. Comments for you are important because you will be expected to implement some of these steps within your club. Part of it is a condition of law, and part of it is a condition to make sure you're covered by our insurance policy should anything arise. So there was a policy on vulnerable sectors, a policy, an expanded policy on youth exchange that required that we take it outside the policy and procedures manual. There's a policy on crisis management, which again is new, and abuse and harassment. Also, the policy and procedures manual itself was updated in a number of steps. And if you open up the document, it will actually show you where the changes are proposed to be updated. One of the policies I was responsible for, or the district governor's team was responsible for bringing forward, was realigning the clubs under the assistant governors in the Toronto region so that the assistant governors had all their clubs in one region for better synergies, for cluster meetings and joint activities. So we're asking that you review these. We're asking that you take them back to your board and if necessary to your entire club. So that if there are any comments that you do have, now's an opportunity to bring them forward. District Governor Mark would like to, Governance Chair Terry Caputo would like to hear from you by Thursday, April 15th. So it would give him an opportunity for any explanations or adjustments to occur for us to consider bringing it before the district leadership team for approval at our next meeting in April. So District Governor Beth, that's our past District Governor Beth. I just wanted to make everyone aware of it. And
yep, perfect. And before we move on, we do need to, thank you for that update, Ron. We do need to vote on the district budget. So I guess we'll have people have a show of hands. All those in favor?
Just the PEs, right? Just the
PEs. Just
or
the
proxies,
PEs.
or proxies.
Yeah. So it's thank you. And are there any opposed? So I'm looking for my DG team colleagues to monitor the Hollywood squares to see if there are any opposed to the budget, so we can make a record of that. Are there any opposed? Seeing none, budget is carried. Thank you very much, everybody. All right, now we're going to move on to District Governor Nominee Designate John Burns, and he's going to do a lengthy session on, not too lengthy, but not too lengthy, session on goal setting in Rotary Club Central, and he's also going to speak about the 2021-2022 Rotary Citation. So John, over to you.
All righty. For those of you that don't know me, the name's Burns, John Burns, Special Agent 7070. This was a name that Ron Dick gave me. He called me and said, Sean Connery's dead, John. You'll just have to take over. So unfortunately, I think I have to go with DGND. Anyway, John Burns is the name. So this session, as Beth said, is about goals. I ask you the question, Can you imagine hockey without a goal net? Or soccer without a goal net? Or basketball without a net? Clearly, the players would be running around with no clear sense of purpose. Life is like that if you have no personal goals. Whatever they be, whether it's to achieve a certain academic standard, start a family, or improve your standard of living, we all need goals. Rotary is no different. It sets itself goals such as the eradication of polio, and we all know what has been achieved on that front. At club level, it is important that we also set goals. It's also important to remember, from your point of view, they are club goals. It is not you personally who has to achieve them. In setting them, you should do it in conjunction with your directors and committee chairs, as they will be the ones to drive them. The goals should be a challenge where the club needs to work together to achieve them. They should not be easy, so they can be achieved with no effort, but they should be achievable. Once entered, they are not in tablets of stone. You can edit them up or down, you can add to them or subtract them. There are no penalties for not achieving them. There is, however, the possibility of being awarded a presidential citation. This happens if you achieve any 13 out of the listed 25 goals. And this is much easier than it was in previous years because you had to have specific goals achieved. But now you have a free hand in it. So, Charles, can you let me share the screen now, please?
Go ahead.
All right. Hopefully this works. It's strange. I'm not seeing what I need to see.
Do you not have the screen share?
Yeah, I do, but it's, just give me a second. No full screen. Oh dear. Exit full screen. This is the one that I want to use. I don't know, can anybody see my Rotary on the screen?
No, we can't see your screen share yet.
You can't. Okay, next.
Did you click on the screen share? And did it show up in the menu?
That is very strange. Dear.
Where's Pauline, John?
Oh, I don't know. At the moment, she's with some friends, Amy. Just give me a second. Okay, let's see what this does this time. Share screen. Okay, share. Did it work this time?
Yes, you got to my Rotary.
Good. All right. So
26 years old, sleeping in her own bed, and the police down her door and shot her dead. And I dedicate every single.
Could we make sure that everybody is muted, please, for John's presentation? Thank you.
All right. Okay. So the first thing you all would have to do, and I don't want you to do it now, you do it in your own time, is to log into my Rotary. And you will then be faced with a page you can see in front of you now. Once you're in there, you select Manage. And you select Club and District Administration. Then Rotary Club Central. Is that clear to everybody? You can all see that on the screen? Good. It takes a little time. It will eventually come, believe me. Here we go. So when you come into Rotary Club Central, you may have to go make a cup of coffee while you're waiting. You'll be seeing this page, which will actually show you your club name. What you need to do then is on the left side, you need to go into Goal Center. So you'll then be seeing this page. On this occasion, I'm going to select, hopefully, yeah. The Oshawa Club to use their page at the moment. You won't be able to do that. You will use your page. Okay, once you're at this point, the first thing you'll see here is a year, 2020 to 21. It's not your year, so you have to change that. Okay, so now you can see 21 to 22. You'll notice on the screen here, there are several tabs across here. Members and engagement, Rotary Foundation giving, service, young leaders, public image, or all. So when you go in to do it, you would select whichever one you want. Personally, I want to use all. This way, all of the goals from these sections are completely on the one page. It saves me jumping back and forward. Give me 1 second. Yeah, somehow the page has not come in how it should have. This is not what I should be seeing here. Dear. Anyway, let's try and move on with what I've got. On these goals that you see here, down on this side, the names being over here, you'll see under each one of the goals, show goal details and history. If you click on that, you'll actually see some history of the goals that have been set by your previous presidents on that subject. It's helpful. It will give you some guide. So I'd recommend on each of the goals you want to do, have a look at what's been done before. Just 1 moment. I've got to keep looking at my notes. All right. Okay, once you decide where you want to set a goal, you would click in this column here. Normally, oh, hang on. This is definitely not behaving itself. Okay. Okay, this is how the page should have looked when you come in. You would see on the top here, save and cancel. Anyway, when you select a goal that you want to do, you click in this box here where it says select goal. Click in the box. You will then be able to go in here, which should be blank, and set whatever goal you want to put in there. This is club membership. Let's say I put in 55. Okay, so that's the goal in there. You can then move on to the next goal that you want to set. Let's say it's Rotary Action Group participation. Again, select in the goal box, put a goal in here, let's say 10. And you keep going on through all the goals until you've set all the goals you want to set. Just 1 second. Okay, let's go back a bit again. In this one, Rotary Foundation Giving. Again, you would go in, select the goal, annual fund contributions. Should be blank. You enter the value you want to give. Let's say it's $5,000. When you come in, this is normally sitting in US dollars. You go and you select the currency that you want. In our case, Canadian dollars. Once you set that, you'll notice 5,000 Canadian dollars. It gives you underneath the US value. Just give me a second again until I get to my notes. Okay, important. When you finish entering all your goals, you come back up to the top of the page and you must click on this button. If you don't click on this button, everything you have done is lost. So always click on the button. You'll see goals saved. Your changes have been saved. Okay. Now you get to the point where you want to go in and edit some of the goals you put in. So you go back to the same thing, Goal Center, you click Edit, and you come to the goals you want to change. Let's say you decided you were too ambitious with the annual fund contribution. You go in there and you change it to whatever new value you want. Or you could have come back in and decided, I don't want to make any goals in the annual fund contributions, in which case, click on that square, it's gone. On all the rest of the goals, with the exception of the ones in Rotary Foundation Giving, you can actually go in and you can mark achievements. So club membership, you said you wanted to have a goal of 55. If you want to mark the achievement, you come in here, click in this box, and put in, oh, it's not letting me do it. I don't know why. It ain't even. Okay, let's do this one. Okay, Rotary Action Group participation, you had a goal of 10. And let's say you go in and say, well, we managed 12 there. So you enter 12. Suddenly, there's a green tick on that box. These are the green ticks you want to see. If you have 13 of these green ticks, then that's a presidential citation. On the Rotary Foundation Giving, the values you have in here, you can't mark an achievement. That achievement is marked in there by RI. And it's based on what you actually have contributed. So any of these values in here, Polio Plus, annual fund giving, you cannot enter an achievement. So you are the one who will know if your club has contributed this amount or more. You're looking for a tick in this box. If you have got this amount, RI will have entered the value here. And if you've got this amount or more, you should see a green tick in this box. I'm just trying to make sure I've covered everything I need to cover. The last comment, once again, is every time you leave this, even if you've been in to edit goals or mark achievements, you must press save. If you don't press save and you try to come out of it, let's say to go to something else here, it usually comes up with a warning. So you shouldn't be able to come away without having saved. It at least gives you one chance, but don't ignore it, or you have to go in and do all the work again. So this actually concludes how to set goals. Now we can actually take some questions. What I can tell you is there is a PowerPoint presentation that shows all of this that Charles will send out to all of you immediately after this session. So any questions, you can fire them at me now.
So John, there's one in the chat box, comes from Marcy, Rotary Club of Scarborough. Does this have to be done at one go, or can we save and go back at a later date?
No, you can do this as many times as you want. You could do some, switch it off, go have a coffee, lunch, go for a walk, come back, do some more, or leave it for a couple of weeks, or a couple of months for that matter. So it doesn't have to be done in one go.
Okay, another question from Danny from North Scarborough. When do we do this?
Whenever you feel comfortable to do it, Danny. I would strongly suggest you do it with a good pint of beer in your hand, but preferably not in the pub.
And I think you want to set these goals in conversation with your incoming board of directors. Share with them what the goals are and what they, you with some consultation with the club have decided what your goals are going to be for the 21-22 Rotary year.
I mean, be clear that the current presidents have all been back in the system and amended and modified the goals that they put in at the beginning of their year. This year has been a very different year. And I think initially everybody was a wee bit on the ambitious side, but do not be afraid to go in and change the goals.
Josie has her hand up.
Yeah, thanks. So this is really great. My question is, the goals stated on the left side that we would choose, is there an explanation of each goal area? Like, okay, club membership, that to me is obvious. We put how many members we think we can bring into the club. Is that right?
Yeah.
But there is, service participation. Is there somewhere where I can go and get a definition of what service participation means so that I know precisely if I choose that goal, what I have to do, what I say but what the club has to do to achieve it?
I'm trying to think of what answer to give you that, Josie.
Okay, thanks.
Okay.
Well, here.
I just see that, I clicked on global view there to come out of the goal center, and I can see that it has this information here. I clicked on the information button there on club membership.
Okay.
How are these numbers calculated? and it proceeds then to give you that little box of information. I assume that each one there, yep, it gives you a bit of detail there as to what it means.
Okay.
So that's something I learned. I don't know,
So
does
John-
that answer your question, Josie?
I think so. I think I understand it. Otherwise, I'll get back to you.
Yep, sure. Don't hesitate. Just drop me an email or give me a call.
Okay.
So John, we have a question from Mike from Toronto, Eglinton. It's a lengthy text, but let me give it to you. I'm not sure if the issue is common to other clubs, but some of our members have questioned the value of this citation as the targets are voluntary, not well understood by general members, and can be lowered after the initial targets have been set. Has there been any thought given to district participating in setting goals at each club or looking for ways to elevate the prestige of this award? It's a bit of, it may be a difficult one for you to answer, John.
Sorry, John, I don't want to put you on the spot.
This might be a better question for the whole DG team to chime in, but we'll let John start.
I think that nobody wants to make it so hard, Mike, that nobody can achieve it. Only yourself would know your local situation and what you think you can achieve there. I mean, do your members want to have very hard challenges or challenges that are reasonable that they can manage to achieve? Would district want to set the targets? That's not really what district's job is. District's here to help everybody, not to set targets for them to achieve. And each club would have to be different anyway. So I don't know if that answers all of your question, but
Yeah, sorry, John, I wasn't thinking of district specifically setting targets. But district obviously has goals for growing Rotary in the district, for example. So if, for example, district wanted to grow membership by 10%, perhaps that could be a goal that all clubs could try to achieve. And if they achieve, get the citation. This came up a few times when it's probably our club that's really at fault here. We don't communicate very well the goals of the citation. And so a lot of the members aren't engaged. They don't get it. They don't really care that much. And when it comes up, it's not a lot of discussion about it and actually a bit of frustration. So I was thinking of ways of maybe giving clubs some guidance and that would align with what the district and what RI is looking for. But not certainly, I would never expect district to come in and say, Rotary Toronto Eglinton has to add 10 new members this year and raise this much money and do those things. That's not what I'm suggesting at all.
Okay,
You
so let
remember-
me weigh in here a bit, Mike. It's interesting because, you know, a number of years ago, the citation, the Rotary citation was actually called the presidential citation. And some presidents, club presidents, thought it was a reflection of them and not their club. So I was very glad when they moved to the Rotary citation, because it is really about the club setting goals, striving to achieve them, and then celebrating that they have done that achievement. So it often falls to some clubs, the president, some club, the president and the board of directors. But you know what? There's lots of room for the whole club to get on board and say, is this something that we want to strive toward? Is this something we want to achieve? And if yes, what do we think our goals are going to be? Yeah. Should we be up 5 or 10 members? So you know what, there's lots of opportunity. It's almost like a strategic planning session.
Yes, I agree. And I agree. A lot of it is communication. And in the case of our club, I mean, we've had great presidents, as you know, Beth, and but they've always taken on the responsibility of setting these goals on their own, almost in a silo, and then it's kind of reported to the board and everyone accepts it. I agree. I'd like to change that. I'd like it to be more engagement from the general members.
You know what, Mike? Where there's a challenge, there's an opportunity.
Absolutely agree. Yeah.
So just
Right.
add to that. So much like this year, this upcoming year, there's a lot of flexibility in the goals that the clubs work toward. Prior to this year, you had to achieve goals in specific categories. Now what they've done this year and in your year, Mike, is they're saying, here's 30 goals, pick 13 from them. It's up to you. It's up to your club, which goals you want to, out of the 30, which 13 you want to focus on.
Yeah.
There's a lot of flexibility in the way they've designed it.
Yeah, I've had to walk several presidents through this website because many find it confusing, difficult to use.
Well,
Yeah, it's not
hopefully
easy.
tonight's presentation by John has been helpful. But I think more importantly, Mike, is that John has a great slideshow that Charles will share with all the PEs. And it does screenshots of all the things he talked about tonight. So as an incoming president, I would be inclined to present that and get people to understand, get them on board. I mean, create that momentum, that enthusiasm to achieve all of those goals. Maybe citation aside, but just to have some focus as a club.
I agree, totally. Thank you.
Mike, I think, I mentioned earlier about this thing I'm pointing to on the screen at the moment.
Yep.
Show the details and the history. So when you're in your club's page, if you click it, you'll see what your previous presidents have put in as goals and what was achieved. So you can use that as a talking point if you want, when you're discussing your goals with your board and chairs.
Yep.
All right. So I found it very helpful when I had to do mine. So I would strongly recommend it to everybody.
Good tip. Thank you.
Good. So John, we have a question and a couple of comments and another question. So one question is, why are so few clubs have goals? Why so few clubs have goals compared to the total number of clubs? Don't know whether you can answer that or not.
Yeah, I can.
Okay.
As we've gone through this year, we continually monitor clubs to see what goals they have put in. And we always end up with some who haven't put any goals in, but we gently persuade them, shall we say, to enter at least a couple of goals. And I can safely say at the moment, every club in 7070 has at least entered one goal.
Okay, thanks. A couple of very complimentary comments here. Thanks. I learned a lot from John tonight. Good job, Agent DGND. And then a question from Matt. Can you clarify which goals are recommended out of the 30?
Okay, obviously RI, they would stress club membership. We need to grow membership. That would be the main focus, the priority one. In terms of public displays and social websites, I think that's the next one. They would want as much as possible to get the best appearance that they can to the public. Beyond that, I'm not sure if I would like to select some other goals for you.
Okay, thanks. Jay, a comment from Jay, I think it's Jay Cannings. I find talking to each member about their goals a good way to get them on board. Thanks for that, Jay. And Burke was just saying that the slides would be a great to present to the club. Thank you for that. And Mike, is there a PDF that summarizes all of the goals that we can discuss with our board? So I think to answer your question, Mike, I think those are the slides that you're going to receive from Charles after tonight's presentation. John's done a great job of doing screenshots of all the different slides that he used in his presentation tonight. Very self-explanatory, very easy for you to walk your board of directors through to clearly understand. But I do know that John is also very willing to help you as an incoming president understand, work with your board of directors and or your club to understand the whole goal setting process and to help you set your goals. So you have a resource in the slide presentation, but you also have a resource in John and also the district governor team, I might add. We're all well versed in Rotary Club Central. We've all been through this as club presidents, so we're very familiar, as are your assistant governors. Your assistant governors are past club presidents. They have used Rotary Club Central in the past to set their own goals, and I'm sure they can help you. They're an additional great resource that can help. Okay, Danny says, I have a question. So over to you, Danny.
Yes. When I asked when should we do this, what I meant was, when is it appropriate to do this, to discuss your goals when you're in the middle of the previous president's term? So would it be now, or would it be May or June? When is it appropriate to start talking about your year when you're in another person's year?
So let me start and then I'll turn it over to John.
Okay.
So as an incoming president, Danny, I worked with my predecessor, my colleague, Rotary colleague, and said, I would like to do some goal setting with the incoming board of directors. So I'm thinking about April or May, we had a joint board of directors meeting. So the current and the incoming, and we did some strategic planning. I think you're very sensitive to the fact that you are an incoming president and there's a president now, but you want to have that dialogue and those goals determined prior to July 1st, because that's when your term starts. If you wait to July to do all of that, then you're not really up and running until September, October, and then a quarter of your year is behind you. So it's really important, I think, in that spring term to really have that conversation with your current president and decide about the appropriate timing to have the conversation and have the goal setting occur. I'll turn it over to John for a further comment.
Okay, what I did at the end of April, I had a meeting with our current president, or my president at that time. And then I had two meetings, one in May and one in June, with the shadow board, my board. The first meeting I had with them, we discussed the goals. They took it back to their committees, which were shadow committees at that time. And when we had the second shadow board meeting, then we firmed up on the goals. So April, May, June, Danny, just sequence that. Give yourself some time because it needs discussion. And your current president should be able to help you along the way there.
Okay, it looks like Ron Dick also has a comment.
Yeah, a couple of comments. I just wanted to follow up with Danny. This year is actually very different than any previous year, where your goals or your selection of your goals is exactly the same as the current president. So by you introducing them and talking about them, it's to reinforce finishing off the goals this year, as well as setting them for your board for next year. So I would say right now is a great time to get started for all the reasons Beth mentioned, but also because they are the same.
Okay.
Yeah. So there. The other thing I wanted to mention is that somebody asked earlier, is there another place where there's some additional explanation? And John, I know that we had circulated a 2-page document that listed the 25 goals. Maybe we can...
It's Ron, it's actually the last 2 pages of the PowerPoint presentation.
Okay. Yeah. So that'll answer that question. I'll leave that to John.
So
okay,
yeah, that question, as Ron says, the PowerPoint presentation you'll receive, the last 2 pages list all the goals.
Okay, great. Brenda Hellier also said that the area that says show goal details and history also has a short description of how the goal is defined. So for people who are trying to understand the whole definition of each of the goal, you can go there. Dave Andrews also said that check out the district website for the 2021 citation for guidance, and he's put a link there in the chat box. Rick Riley has said, if you want to hit the ground running, so the more prep you can do with your shadow board, the more positioned you are to have a good start to the year and a good year. So thank you for that, Rick. And Josie just said, thank you. I had no idea of this. I set our goals with the VP, blah, blah, blah. As for the citation, I don't think we are in Rotary for prizes for what we do, but you know what, Josie, we're all here to support you, to select some goals and have some successes. So are there any more questions for John?
My last comment, Beth, is when you're in Rotary Club Central, please be patient. It's not the fastest website, and sometimes it can be very frustrating, but hang in there.
I would echo your comment, John, particularly as the end of your presidential year comes to a close. Don't wait until that last week to get in there, because everybody's doing the same thing. It'll crash. You'll be frustrated. So, you know, err on the side of being a little bit early. Peter, I saw your hand up there.
Yeah, I just wanted to thank John, because I noticed in his example today, he opened up the Rotary Club of Oshawa page. So thank you in advance for filling and completing my goals, and just hit save before you log on. Okay? But a quick question here was, Beth mentioned including your club in these goals. Now I've heard you say the word shadow committees. Is that what you meant though? Or did you actually?
I did.
To a lunch?
In as much, Peter, as once you become president-elect, once you've been through PETS training, at that point, you should be in a position where you know who the members of your board are, and they should also start to know who the members of their committees are. So there is currently active committees and an active board. So anything you set up has to be in a shadow. The minute the 1st of July comes, it's no longer the shadow. You're it.
So Peter, let me just expand on my comment and to John's point. I do believe there is merit in having the incoming board shadow the existing board, having, you know, joint dialogue, doing some joint goal setting. But you know what? These are goals not just for the board. These are club goals. So I think it's really important that those goals be shared with the club. I know in our club, it was the responsibility of the vice president, I believe, to, you know, shepherd that, you know, that process, maybe the PE, I can't remember now. But just to let people know what it is we're striving for, because it's not just a board of directors responsibility. You know, a past president in our club, you know, said to me as a young president, you know, every once in a while, remind members that membership growth is all of our responsibility. It's not the membership committee chair. It's not the membership committee. It's not the president. It's not the incoming president, the past president. You know what? All of us should be looking for prospective members. So, you know what? I think the more that we are inclusive in our message, the better the opportunity we have to achieve those goals.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. And I was wondering, and that's why I think somebody else, maybe Danny, was asking about the timing of this all. As an incoming president, it looks like we should have this done by the 1st of July. But in order to address our club as that president, then you'd think we'd have the floor after the 1st of July to bring this about. And then I also wanted to mention the point of the best way to bring it about. Do you bring it about in a survey form, in a presentation form? Could it open up a can of worms that you may not be ready to manage if there's a bunch of disagreement around which goals and the actual goal set?
So I'll take a stab at this, then I'll look to my DG team colleagues to support further comments. So that's why that kind of last quarter is a really important transition period. That, you know, the outgoing board, the incoming board, the outgoing president, the incoming, you have that joint dialogue. And that you as the incoming president have an opportunity to get their input. You could do a pronouncement in July, but isn't it kind of helpful to know that you have everybody with you when you take on the role? So I think it really warrants dialogue and planning between the current president, the incoming president, the current board, and the incoming board to say, okay, what is it we think we want to do, and how do we want to communicate it? Dave. You're on mute, Dave.
Muted.
Sorry about that. And then throughout the year, you have meetings with your entire club and you review the goals where you stand. How are we doing? And a month or two later, have another meeting. How are we doing now? And so on. So after about a 6-month period, you can sort of put yourself in position where you are and where you want to get to. And all the members are helping because they're putting input into those meetings. They have your suggestions and ideas on how to get to those goals. And every member counts that way.
And so, and to Peter, to your question is not unlike what we're currently doing with the district strategic plan to identify our 21-22 actions. You know, you've all seen the link to the Survey Monkey. You know, a survey to your members said, you know, give us your feedback. You know, we're all in this together, right? Divided we stand, united we stand, divided we fall. We want to be together so we can all move forward. So, you know, do a little bit of a survey with them, find out from them, do some focus group table discussions, you know, get some feedback, and then, you know, have those harder decisions about what it is that you really want to achieve in the coming year. I'm conscious of time, but I'm not going to cut off the questions. I'm just going to go back to the chat box. Nisi had a comment.
Yeah, John. It's been a while since I heard anybody. I had to smile. It's been a while since I heard anybody talking about a green tick.
Well, that's what it comes up as, Danny. It's a green tick.
So Nisi had a comment just tagging onto mine. A great way to get input for your club members. Send out a survey. Josie said, great idea. Trudy said, we normally invite new board members to participate in board meetings starting in April. Allows them to get up to speed on club activities, how the board operates. They can make comments or ask questions. Yeah, so several people have had the same comment. So you know what? Think about what it is you want to do. Talk to your current president, and you know what? The DG team is here to help and guide you. We're always just a phone call, email away, happy to help you. We want you to be successful, and we want you to see those challenges or opportunities and strive for success. So we're here to help. So John, I'm going to take a moment now and just thank you on behalf of the group for a great presentation. And thank you for answering everybody's questions. So let's give John a round of applause.
Thank you.
Good. And I know that everybody's going to appreciate your PowerPoint presentation, because it will just refresh the learning from tonight, but it also will be very helpful if they want to use that with their own incoming board, or do a joint board presentation, or even just share it with clubs. I remember as club president, one of the citation goals for us was to have 50% of the club have my Rotary account. Now, I was president in 15, 16, not that long ago. But, you know, we have a little bit older demographic, and you know, I put that out as a goal because it was a citation goal. And how many people had my Rotary account? 27%, right? I needed 50. So I said, come on, guys, we got to do it. We got to get there. We did eventually get there. But, you know, it's those kinds of things that you strive as This is important for us as Rotarians. This is important for our club, and you just have to keep on promoting it.
Rotary Club Central. Once you get in there, there is so much information available to presidents. You'll love it. Go in, check it. It's good.
Yep. Just remember to save.
Save. Always
Save, and save. Save, and save. Because you don't want to do all that and then all of a sudden go and think, oh my God, I lost it all. It reminds me of when I was doing my first master's essay. And this is a Commodore 64. So that's a long time ago, guys, 86. And I wrote an essay, forgot to save. Fortunately, I had a print copy. So I just turned up the light and started typing again. So save.
Can you see that?
Yeah. Save.
Save. That is the third last page in the PowerPoint presentation. Big letters, save.
And a final comment from Ron Dick. He said, all 25 goals are the reason we joined Rotary. Great summation, Ron. Thanks very much. Okay, so now we're going to turn it over to our last, the last segment of our training seminar. And we have a special guest tonight. We'll call him an encore president. So Roger Tessier, past president of the Rotary Club of Cobourg and current AG, assistant governor, and incoming president to the Rotary Club of Cobourg, is going to speak to us about if I was president again. So over to you, Roger. We're looking forward to your presentation.
Thank you so much, Past District Governor Beth. Firstly, before I start, great job, John. There's so many questions around that. I think it was very much appreciated by everyone. Now, subject this evening is, if I were president again, first question that begs to be asked is, why in the world would I want to be president again? Well, I got to tell you, there's many people in our clubs have been president more than once, twice, three times. I can think of Rob Pope of Campbellford, that he's going to be president again next year. It may not be what he wants to do, but he knows it's important. He has to do it. Think about Bob Wallace, you know, who we all know and all love. Here's a guy that was a member, a president, a board member, a president, AG, a governor, worked in the district, worked in the international membership. He came back to the district, and there was a need. There was a need in Port Hope. There was a need for him to be president, and he went back and he did it. So we all come back to being president again for various reasons. Just imagine, in my case, I am going to be president again July 1st. At first, it was a need, but you know what? Now I am so excited. These last 8 weeks have done so much for me. I thought I knew a lot about Rotary. I've learned a ton of stuff. I learned stuff that I thought I knew, but I really didn't. What would I do differently than the first time around? A little bit more, not necessarily a lot, but I'm just going to expand on everything that I did. I had a blast. You know, you're going to hear me say this more than once. Enjoy your year, because if everything is done properly, this will be the most important, the most refreshing, the most invigorating year of your Rotary life to be president. You are going to have a blast. And if you don't, then there's something wrong. And you should ask yourself what that is. In my case, coming back in July 1st, it's going to be our 100th anniversary. So much to do, so many things we want to do. Think about what does president mean? You're going to be managing the board of your club. But most importantly, the one thing I learned the first time around, your community status is incredible. People, as soon as they know that you are the president of the Rotary Club, say, wow, this guy must be on the ball. This lady must be on the ball. This person is on the ball. You know, we want to know this person. The one thing, I guess, that we need to stress, 2021, 2022 our board, our president of Rotary International, Shekar Mehta, his motto is serve to change lives. So think about that. How are we going to serve to change lives? That's when you're doing your goals, keep that in the back of your mind. In 2017, 2018, when I was president, Ian Risley, our chair then, his motto was making a difference. You know what? When I look back on my year, I really did make a difference. I made a difference in our club. I made a difference in our community, but maybe not as much as I wanted to. Damn it, I've got a second chance at it. I am not going to go light on this one. How are we going to serve to change lives? Well, you know what? We have an enormous opportunity. We are the presidents. We are the presidents. Class of 2021, 2022. We are the presidents that are going to lead our club out of the pandemic. So as AG Rick said earlier, incoming AG Rick, get ready, start your year running, be prepared. There's going to be a lot of changes, but a lot of changes, you're the person that's going to make them. So make sure that you know what you want to do. Make sure your board is on board. Make sure everything is the way you want it. Have, a couple of things I want to set straight right at the moment. Very, very important, and I don't know if you've ever even thought about this. Have a very strong, capable mentor. Bounce a lot of stuff off your mentor. I was very fortunate during my year. I had past District Governor Beth as my mentor, and I'm fortunate enough, she doesn't know it yet, but she's going to be my mentor again this year. Hopefully she won't say no. So it's so great to have someone that's been there that can help you. You're going to run into some problems, and I keep saying to past presidents or presidents in the future for our club, a few things you need to know. Know what your club is all about. Don't let a problem fester. Deal with it. Don't let it fester. It's a common error that people do. They say, well, we'll let it fester. We'll let it sit back a little bit. And it'll come back. It just doesn't pay off, guys. Deal with it immediately. I've done something this year that I didn't do the first time around. I loaded my board. I made sure usually it's our past president that goes and sets up, gets people to get elected. Well, I took an active role in that. And I've loaded my board with 12 strong people that are not yes people. I have 6 women and I have 6 men. The 6 women are very, very strong women. They're people that are going to put their thoughts forward. I have strong men. I have a past president that's on my board. So I've done it to the way I want it. Be excited. If you're excited with your board, with your team, with your club, it's contagious. It's extremely contagious. Have fun in your meetings. Set up fines. We have fines all the time. Sometimes I'll say, well, we're always fining the guys, but this year, today, I think it's a lady's turn. We're so fortunate to have you as members of our club. I think you should pay a fine. And just have fun. We're going to do something a little different. We used to really depend on our 3 major fundraisers to make money. We still need to make money. We still need, because a lot of things we want to do. But we're going to get back to serving the community. Serve to change lives. The little things that we've just kind of gotten away from. People are going to need help. They're going to need a semblance of order to get back to normal. Especially older members of our community, but also the older members of our club. Let your community know that you are here. I've gotten a real head start this year with my board. I'm setting up goals. We've already started to do that. I'm so excited about things that are happening with Rotary in Coburg. And very, very quickly, the inoculation rollout at CCC, our community center. I'm really deeply involved with that. And the personal satisfaction I get every day, I'm down there and I'm helping to have people inoculated. You get these seniors coming in. They're one lady I had to hold up because she was crying so much. She says, you know what? I see the light at the end of the tunnel. I'm going to see my grandchildren. So I get home and I'm so exhilarated. It takes me an hour to come back down. So things like that get really involved. I have a huge advantage this time around, being a past president, an AG. I've helped past Assistant Governor Beth with her conference. I was on her select committee. I'm going to help incoming governor, if I can use that term, Ron Dick with his. It's just a blast. It's so much fun. We are going for the presidential citation. It's something that I'm excited about. It's goal setting. Goal setting. If you don't have goal setting, nothing happens. You know, and you want to think ahead a little bit. And I know I'm going all over the place here, so you just have to appreciate the fact that I am so excited about everything that I really want to get the message to you. So many little messages, but one big message. What's in your future? After you're president, do you want to be an AG? Do you want to be a governor? District governor for Rotary? Go Rotary International? It's there. It's possible. Look at Jennifer Jones, president nominee for 2022-2023. Look at Valerie Wafer, our IVP elect. Remember, my mentor, I want to give you, my mentor gave me some great advice and I took it to heart. And now I really understand it. Know the culture of your club. That was number one. That's just one thing she stressed. Know what makes your club tick. Don't get bogged down by negatives. You know, we have 140 members. Whether it's 140 members, 20 members, or 40 members, they all have different ideas. The thing is to bring them together. Bring those ideas together, make it all worthwhile. Deal with problems as they occur, like I said to you. Don't let it fester. But the most important thing is, this is going to be the best year of your Rotary life. Make it that way. You're going to really enjoy it. I'm telling you. You're going to tell me later. We're the class of 2021, 2022. We are going to make our mark. We are going to help our district governor-elect to be the best in Rotary International. Why? Because that's who we are. We are 7070. Let's keep that tradition. A couple last thoughts. On my mind a lot lately has been the advent of, especially with the inoculations things going on. On my mind a lot has been diversity, equity, and inclusion. On January 28th, 1989, Rotary International had a watershed moment. They allowed women to join Rotary and shed the old boys club stigma. What a smart move, man. Having said that, let me leave you with one last thought. It's a question, really. Where would we be today? Where would Rotary be today without female members of all nationalities, of all areas of life, all clubs all over the world? It's a very scary thought. Think about that. Where would we be today? Rotary wouldn't be an inch of what we are today without women. So they've complemented us. They've made us become stronger, and we think more, because if we don't, they're going to surpass us, because we got a lot of great people out there. Class of 2021-22, all I wish you is an amazing year as president. Enjoy it, because you may only get it once. In my case, I'm fortunate, I'm going to get it twice. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Roger. Woo! Great presentation. That was great, Roger. Thanks very much. I don't know, Ron, you're the DG for all this this group of PEs. Do you want to comment on Roger's presentation?
Well, I just want to say thanks, Roger. I'm just sitting here amazed. I got goosebumps. I think this is a great class. I'm looking forward to working with yourself and all the other president-elects, not just to get to the World of Beers in November on our trip to Evanston And I look forward to, Mark and I look forward to getting back to you with some dates as to when that's going to work. But I can only echo what Roger said. I can remember my year as president. And yeah, it was one of the best years that I ever had in Rotary. And as Roger said, it's going to be one of your best years coming up. So let's do it together. Let's nail it.
So Roger, just want to share some comments that are in the chat. Some comments. Roger's the best cheerleader. Thanks, Roger. He is straight from the heart. Easy to see why Roger's having a second go at president. Fabulous talk. Thank you for the inspiration. So thank you, Roger. I'm really pleased that you put your hand up to be president again, and even more pleased that you agreed to be our special speaker tonight. We kept it a deep, dark secret, and you gave the group some really valedictorian speech. Loved it, says somebody. But you know there was some really solid advice in there, and if we all took that to heart, then we would all have successful years in the role in Rotary that we have. So thank you very much on behalf of the group. Really appreciate you taking on the task, giving it some thought, some reflection, and sharing your words of wisdom. So thanks very much. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
So lots of applause. Thank you. So folks, we're a few minutes early. So I just want to wrap up and say thank you to all of our participants and our presenters tonight. I will be sending out some kind of survey. Haven't really kind of formulated in my mind because the movers arrive at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. So we're moving from our home of 25 years to a soft landing for a couple of months before we have a hard landing sometime in May. So I've been a little preoccupied today. But anyway, I will send out a survey, but keep in mind as you reflect on these sessions, these are the kinds of things that the district governor team and I as the district trainer in particular are looking for. What things worked well? What things didn't? What things did we include? What things did we miss? In other words, the PMI. What were the pluses of the sessions? What were the minuses? And what were some interesting thoughts that came your way during all of these sessions? I said to the team when we chatted on Monday, it's hard to believe that this is the last of the 8 sessions. It just went bing, bing, bing so fast. And here we are, we're the session 8. So do want to thank everyone for their participation. It's been a great President-elect training seminars, and please just give some thought prior to me sending out the survey. Just to get your feedback, because it will help to inform us in our future planning for President-elect training for next year. We hope that we can have some face-to-face at some point, but I guess that all remains to be seen. So,
Beth, on behalf of the group, a special thank you to Charles Bridle, our district secretary, for hosting our Zooms every week. And a huge thank you to you and all the work that you did in doing something very special and being able to bring us an 8-part virtual series. As many have said, we've got more out of this year than trying to cram us in on a Saturday morning. So Beth, thank you very much.
Well, thanks. You know what? It's been great to work with the district governor team. We know we've had conversations every Friday morning, but I've also met with Ron and Iosif and now John Monday afternoons just to review what we're doing, just to refine, make sure we've got everything in place, and just to say, are we on the right track? Are we missing anything? Have we overlooked anything? Is there something that we've duplicated? So we're moving forward. So thank you, everybody. Have a great evening, and we'll all the best in your year as president. And again, please don't hesitate to reach out to members of the district governor team. We're here to help you. We want you to be a successful president in the Rotary year 2021-22, and we're here to help in any way we can. Good night, everybody. Take care.
Everybody.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night, everyone. Thank you.
Good night.
Cheers. Thank you and good night.